Did I leave the stove on?
Hello, how's it going? Yeah, get used to seeing like this tonight because my throat is pretty dry. But anyway, never mind. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, people. Good evening, one and all. Welcome to the Opie-Verse. Or if you're watching maybe on the other side of the pond, good afternoon to you because we are a little bit earlier today. My gracious guest was happy enough to move this basically so I didn't fall asleep live on stream because, well, that would have been interesting. But the reason for that is I still have COVID. So last week I had COVID. Yeah, last Sunday I got COVID. I tested positive for COVID. I still have COVID, hence why I've made no content anywhere this week. But I've made an effort. I've actually left the house today and everything, but it's knackered me. But I've got trusty caffeine. I've got everything I need, and I have the energy of our guest this evening. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we get to that, let's just say some hellos. So first and foremost, we have the stud buds in. We have Mr. Ethan the Artisan. Mr. Ethan the Artisan, who doesn't even show up for stud buds anymore, turns up for the Opie-Verse. Now we're talking, Ethan. Now we're talking. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Didn't expect the intro. Do you miss the intro every week, Mike? Hey, James. Hey, Joe. How are you both? And Mr. Wookie, how are you? Why is Brad controlling the stud buds account? I thought he did. But yeah, welcome, Ethan. Welcome. Hope you're well. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my guest this evening is, if you follow me on TikTok, no doubt you've seen his content. You've potentially seen us interact because we have done for some time. He is one quarter, or the cornerstone of the Stud Buds, which are a group of American TikTokers who have their own stream, podcast, whatever we call these things over here on YouTube. He has his own presence as well, but it's very likely you've potentially seen us. You've seen he and I interact through Stitcher's duets, even chatting live on lives. But yeah, without further ado, it is his first attendance on the Opie-Verse. There is a reason for that, which we will get into. But I'm glad to have him here. So, without further ado, I give you the one, and I'll shut up now, but the one and only, Mr. Bricking.Up.Brad. Good evening, Brad.
Hello there.
Good afternoon.
What is up?
How the devil are you? Can we just cover off Ethan being in the comments, by the way, when he doesn't even turn up for stud buds anymore?
Yeah, it's because of his female friend. That is the story I am going to go with. And that is the one I'll stick to.
I wonder how long it took him to make her out of Lego.
Make her out of Lego. I mean,
yeah, well, it's like it's Ethan's thing, isn't it? Today I spent 15 minutes building something out of Lego.
For him, that guy can do what he wants. He has 1 million followers on TikTok.
This is true.
He's just got so big in the head now, which he would never do. That he's just like, I don't need to show up for stud buds anymore because I'm too cool for that. So
he has many stories. Well, Ethan, let's get you on the Opie-Verse and let's tell your stories, my friend. Yes, it's not about you though today, Ethan. It's about Brad. So, and the reason that Brad is, this is episode 29 of the Opie-Verse. And when I set this up, a lot of people probably would have expected to have seen you here a lot earlier. Matt has been on. You're the third stud bud who's been on. So Ethan is the only one now who has not. But the reason you haven't is one of kind of mutual decision. One, and it revolved around you working at the Lego store. I wanted warts and all Brad, no pun intended. You were restricted in what you could say because of the Lego store and working that. Understandably, anybody who interacts with Lego kind of knows that, but you are free of their shackles now. So yeah. So
I remember when
what's
you dropped the Opie-Verse idea into, I think it was a group chat a while back that I was in. And it's like, hey, I'd love to have you guys all on. And I remember I was just getting into like the Lego store, and I was like, I really want to be on that, but like I can't do anything until like this whole thing ends, because I didn't want to, like, I was told going into it, is like, look, if you got any content, keep it on the DL. Now, actually, funny story quickly. Let's get into this. One of my coworkers found out about my sound that blew up all over Lego TikTok and was like, I didn't realize that was you. So like half my coworkers knew by the
one that everybody thought was Maticus. Like everybody,
yeah, that
and
one.
then you got the blame for stealing Maticus's voice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Got
So
on TikTok.
The funny thing is, half the employees there knew that I did TikTok and YouTube by the time I left, because we all became such good friends, and all the guys around my age, just like that story kind of spread among them. And the one guy, I was like, please don't tell anyone else, because I could get so screwed over. But I was going somewhere before that story, but yeah, so it's like, when I went into that store, like I was trying to keep everything on the DL. Like I was only on Stud Buds and a little bit on TikTok, and not even that much on Instagram. So I was like, I can't go on be on other people's streams until this whole thing is done.
Do you know, and I'm sure everybody watching now and watching later, and hey Jack, hey Tom, hey everybody coming through, and I'm sure everybody watches Stud Buds, right? But what I would always love is the moment where, because Matt clearly is like, well, I'm going to talk about leaks. So I like, fuck you, Brad. Like, I'm going to talk about leaks. So
we can swear on this stream. This is great.
Yes. So yes, you can. There are kind of very few restrictions here, especially compared to Stud Buds. But yeah, Matt would just be like, yeah, let's talk about this, and then you'd just kind of be sat there, kind of looking over there, like almost as if like I am just not going to acknowledge what you're saying.
The so funny thing is, people would get on me about that and be like, Brad, you know, you got to pay attention to the stream. And like all the Stud Buds knew why I was doing that. And I was like, guys, I'm trying to not get fired right now.
Yeah, when it comes to not paying attention, you're not that Stud Bud. There is another Stud Bud who is that Stud Bud, but nothing. We won't say anything more about that. But yes, so you, if I understand correctly, you worked at the Lego store. You had a weekend job as well. You've given both of those up, and you've
actually it was like full nights and weekend job too. Like I was working almost 50 hours a week with both these jobs. But
now you have a full-time job.
Yeah, like I'm actually a social media coordinator for a company.
Nice.
And it's because of Stud Buds I got that job. So when people say you can't do content and, you know, play with Lego and get paid, like get a job from doing that, well, they're all wrong.
I totally agree. My managing director. So I work for like a big global corporate bank. And my managing director got wind. Well, he found out what I was doing, and he loved it. And he's then kind of put me in touch with our internal marketing team, because our marketing sucks. And he was like, tell these guys how you've done what you've done, and how your marketing presence exists. And I was like, all right, fair enough. Like, I'll tell them. But I totally agree. And I did think about, because I have a LinkedIn, and I was considering putting this on LinkedIn, but I'm not concerned about my work people finding about this. It's more the reverse engineering of somebody who goes on a tirade and uses my LinkedIn to connect this back to my work. So
I get that.
But yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, that's it's all about you. So, yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank
You've
you.
left the Lego store. You were talking just briefly before this. You've left on good terms, which is great because potentially you
Amazing.
can load up. But let's ask, like, what was it like working for Lego? Because for you, I know you're a big Lego fan. You like, where I always see, I'm a big Lego fan, but I'm a bigger Star Wars fan than I am a Lego fan. Hence why my collection is heavily Star Wars. But you are like a Lego fan above all else, I would say. And then you like have your favorites within that. But how was it kind of getting that job, realizing that dream, and then that experience of working with them?
I gotta say, a lot of people go into working for a Lego store for like the wrong reasons. And if you are planning going to work for a Lego store, really think long about it, because it's legit not just being like, hey, let me talk to you about a Lego set. So, like, I had an amazing experience. I went in, I've worked for McDonald's, I've worked for gas stations that serve food, I've worked for ski slopes, I was a groundskeeper for a school for a bit. And I gotta say, Lego takes care of their employees. Like, legit.
Yeah.
I'm not being paid to say this, but like, they gave us a budget every month to buy snacks and drinks for the break room. We got all the GWPs for free so that we didn't have to like go and spend money to get them. They just boosted how much we got for discount and stuff like that. Like, they're really good about that. And my boss I had there, like, he had his issues, but he was a really good boss. And like, he did actually care about us and how the store went. And compared to some other like managers of stuff I've had, like, he was here and they're all down here. Like,
Yeah.
I've just had some really bad bosses. So, it was an awesome experience. Because, you get to talk to people about Lego. You get to like push them towards certain sets, and you do kind of learn the mind games of it on how to sell people certain sets, which there are times when I was like, I'm selling this kid video right now, and I believe video is one of the stupidest themes ever made. So, like, but
I mean, it proved to be, right? So it
oh
must be one of the
gosh,
most short-lived themes.
no, I think they're shorter lived, but yeah, no, it like it went down, and not in a blaze of glory. But like, at the same time, you have to do a lot of stuff. I did shipment for the past, so I would work nights at the news station I worked at, and then I worked mornings at the Lego store, and that's how I was able to get like my 40 hours a week I needed. And so I'd be going to bed at like 1 a.m. in the morning, getting up at 7 a.m. on Mondays and Thursdays to do shipment. And it sucked. I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. So, but like, you have to bring in all the boxes, and each of those Lego sets you have to open up. Like, it's like a box this big, and I'll have like 3 or 4 Lego sets. So like, when Queer Eye happened and none of those were selling out, we got like, I want to say like 40 or 50 or 60 of those. How to use force? Yes. Like, we got like 50 or 60 of those sets. They never sold. But like, we had to open each and every one of those boxes. So everyone on shipment hated that set just because of how many they had to open. So it's like, there's a lot of stuff you have to do like that. And then you have to deal with the stupidest people. Like, we had people who would just like dump soda on the floor and then walk out of the store and not tell us. So we had to go clean that up. One of my coworkers literally found human waste from the rear end on the floor. Don't know how it got there, but they had to clean it up. So like, there's a lot of stuff like that. You had people who would just yell at you. Like, I worked Christmas, and from like during that Christmas to like Black Friday period too, which was just insane because we had no sets on the shelves. So people would come in and just start yelling at you like crazy because there's no sets. And we're like, we told you guys 4 months ago this was happening. We told everyone that like 4 months before Christmas, we're not going to have sets. And you're all yelling at us like, go buy them at Target. Oh, wait, Target doesn't have a single set in their Lego aisle. So it's like, you just get yelled at for absolutely everything by customers, and you just have to learn to deal with it sometimes. So yeah,
I am blessed never to have worked in retail. When I have worked in customer service and I've worked in relationship management, but I've always worked in like the business banking side of things rather than retail, like the
Mhm.
personal customer. So I've observed the shit, but business tends to be by like appointment and all of that. So you tend not to get it, but yeah, it's like it's shitty.
I'll
And
tell you, food service is way worse than retail because
oh
for
yeah,
some reason people freak out about their food over the littlest thing.
I suppose that's at least more understandable. Like people are hungry or they're a bit like food or this, right? But yeah, people just lose their shit, don't they, about stuff. Um, but yeah, it's yeah. I remember you were talking about. I remember when you first started there, and it was that you told the story about the Mario set where some kind of mom was trying to buy a set, but she didn't have the Mario figs or something, and you try to tell her. Go on, you tell it because
Oh
I was
gosh,
telling
yeah.
her.
There's so many times when people would buy the Mario sets, I'm like, hey, just to let you know, like you're gonna want to buy the Mario starter pack first. If you don't like, you have it. And then usually we'd recommend stuff, and they're like, this woman just kept pushing back and be like, no, I just want these sets. I'm like, all right, I'm just letting you know, and I'm just like, she just kept being like, yeah, just getting on us because like we're trying to help her out and stop her kid from having a meltdown because there wasn't a Mario figure in here. And she was like, no, I'm good. And like, I was like, okay, good, just leave. I'm just like, I told my boss, like, if she comes in tomorrow, it's not my fault. I tried to warn her. Yeah.
Absolutely. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And I think the most annoying thing about that is, right, the one thing that Lego have done consistently is whichever Lego store you go into the world, it is the most wholesome store. Like Lego definitely recruit on brand. So like it is a nice place to be. The people are nice and they're very helpful, and you just think like if you don't know, just like it's the one place that it's safe to be like you're not going to get upsold you massively. People are generally going to try and find you the right
I,
thing for
I
you. But
usually would go for like a medium price set when I always offered something like pointed at someone, and then I'd show them a couple cheaper options. Now, yes,
Mhm.
like you got to understand Lego stores, like we look at the numbers of how much money we would get from each day, and that did help us out. Like we had a goal we were trying to go for each day. So yeah, we were trying to get people to buy a bit more. But at the same time, we were all like, hey, here's some good sets, like down lower price range, even though we are going to try to push you more towards this more expensive set. So, but like usually Lego store employees are pretty good about like just helping you find something in your price range because they do understand as employees, hey, we want to buy all these sets too, but they are
Mhm.
sometimes a little expensive.
Yeah. No, I've never had a bad experience at a Lego store. So
Well,
what about from like your perspective of did you learn anything from whether it's about Lego or anything? Did you did it open your eyes to anything? Did you see Lego differently? Did you learn anything about the logistics of it all?
yeah, I've so one, when I'm guessing when you go to your Lego store, they mark the bottom of the receipt and be like, hey, please take the survey.
Yes. Yeah.
That is the most important, helpful thing you can do for any employee. So if we get, I think it was a 8 through a 10, that was really good. Like that would boost our number, and we're always trying to go for 100% positivity rate back. And usually we would always have incentives that would be like, hey, if you get above this number, we get a pizza party at the end of the month, as long as we stay above, or you'll all get free sets from the displays that were built, stuff like that. On top of it, we read our managers read each of those, and higher up Lego reads those to see how the store is doing. um but also at the same time, like the next year, if we have really good positivity, we all get a bonus depending on how well our store did. And that, like, there's a bunch of factors that lead into it. So, and Lego reads those. So if there you have suggestions, actually good suggestions to make, even if you want to like a certain theme brought back, you write that down in there because Lego read those way more than social media.
Oh.
Now when I go back, I always now like give them really good reviews, but also mess with them. Like last time I went back, I was like, hey, yeah, these two people who, like good friends, I was like, they did so well, they deserve a raise. And then I also messed with my boss, like my old boss, and was like, um, the store didn't have enough castle. I think the store could do a lot better if they had more castle sets, and it like just like messed with them. But at the same time, I gave them like 10s on everything, so he couldn't say anything about it.
Fair, fair. Did you I suppose you're kind of way disconnected from this, but you just never know. But did you get any insight into like the marketing sides, particularly the social media side of Lego? Because I'm always intrigued by that because they feel very rigid for a very wholesome company.
Yeah, I don't understand the social media side of Lego at all because I think there's so much more they could be doing. And I've noticed they've started doing a little bit more. But I just I don't yeah, I had never any insight into that at all. Like I'm purely retail, like any level of that stuff. Once in a while, like one of my higher ups would tell me a little bit about like stuff that was happening like higher up than that about just like kind of the inner workings. But yeah, I never had any of the social media side there.
I just think there's like massive given the people and what we've said, like they always recruit well, that the stores are great places to be. For me, I would say there is absolute value in each store having its own social media presence,
Right?
especially if you think of something like TikTok. Because Lego right now are not on TikTok yet, but for each Lego store for to have its own TikTok account, display and really show off its people and show off its store and its customers, or
I I
it would
don't get it.
do so well.
I mean, look at oh, what's the Toys R Us. They have a TikTok account. And that just shows off so much fun. Like, I want to go shopping at Toys R Us now because of them. Like,
Yeah.
they actually did comment on one of my videos a while back. I just want to say that. But like,
What
yeah,
did they say? Leave us alone, Brad.
yeah.
You can't work here.
Stop harassing our giraffe.
Oh,
Uh,
Jeffrey. I miss Jeffrey.
but yeah, like I think I agree. There's so much more they could be doing. Like I remember, like it's weird though, because like she worked at a Lego store, and they were happy with her doing that. Or
She's
like,
on next week.
yeah, she's a great person
Yeah.
too. Rich Boy Jay down in Texas near Ethan. He was worked at a Lego store for a long time, and he's a big figure in the Lego community on YouTube. So I think it breaks down to regions a little bit where like because each Lego stores have different sections. So it's not even just by state. It's like, hey, these are all in one group, and those kind of have a similar shipping warehouses or something like that. And they all have like levels of people that like manage that whole area. Districts. Like I got to meet the district manager once. Like I was expecting suit and tie, nicest person came in with her Starbucks coffee, all smiling, like tattoos up both her arms, like great. Like I was just the nicest person. It's like going from like McDonald's and places like that. That just like the managers get like district people came in. Like, this is not right. You're not making that sandwich right. Like they're so chill, but I think it's just like I think it comes down to that district level of whether they decide, hey, are people going to do social media or not?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think where it surprises me with Lego is, and the difference in corporate structure to something like McDonald's, for example, is McDonald's is franchised, so the regional and area managers and all that are very much there to drive performance. Now that'll be true in Lego as well, but their kind of core values seem very different. They're very, as I say, that word wholesome comes through. It's all about doing things right, having that right brand, having that right image, and that really shines through. So, but yeah, I what I would expect from there though is that you have a far more consistent approach. So the stores feel very consistent in the experience you have in there, but as an individual who can or can't put themselves on social media, but it's sometimes it's a call, right? So your manager might be less experienced or even more experienced and just thinks like, no, it's not worth the risk, and they make that call. So
Yeah.
elsewhere, somebody else is like, nah, what's the worst that could happen? And then it falls on their shoulders, or maybe it doesn't. But yeah, I think there's an absolute gap there though for Lego, and I get that they're probably it's probably that whole Scandinavian mindset, like control and like everything is calculated. They lose that control if they're giving that presence to like individuals. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Definitely
Oh
move
yeah,
with
I
the times,
definitely
all
agree.
like definitely move with the times. But yeah, the great thing is of you leaving is it's unlocked you once again to start playing in the world of social media. So what have you got going on right now? Because you've got a lot. Like you've kind of come back with a bit of a bang. You could be ever present on stud buds again. Like you don't have to zone out. But yeah, what's happening in the world of Brad right now?
So like the bottom things, like the little things I'm trying to do is trying to get my name, like my big thing is trying to get my brand back out there, trying to get Bricking.Up.Brad as a name and people recognize that again. Like not like ego way, just like says like, oh yeah, I remember this guy who used to post a lot. Like I do want to see what he's up to, check out his videos again. It's like Instagram. I'm really trying to get back into like posting on stories, posting stuff once. Like my goal is at least like a couple times a week to post something to Instagram, share stories. Like my new thing is like I'm trying to like look for stuff that I like, like castle locks and stuff, and try to share that to my story to help promote other people, but also like kind of get interaction going. And there's new ways that I've been thinking up of how to try to get interaction going. And I'm like having, it's weird because I have all these elements that I already had before. So I already had the TikTok, I already had Instagram, YouTube, Stud Buds Instagram, Stud Buds Disco, like, and I having to rebuild all of that because they all kind of like crumbled in on themselves. And
Mhm.
I'm like, well, this isn't great. Like if I want to go live on TikTok again, like there aren't that many people who are actually going to come join my lives right now because it's been so long. So I try to do it at least once in a while. Um, but my thing is like appearing on a lot of people's podcasts right now, letting people know I'm back, trying to be on shows again, being very prominent in the Stud Buds community again. So like that Stud Buds is kind of like one of my top things that I'm trying to get back into, like hard drive, which already was like really going big into.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, that's good. I'm at that Stud Buds is a level right now where I like it. Like we're doing a lot of good stuff there. TikTok, I'm trying to figure out what I want to be doing on there. And I have an idea. My big goal for everything right now is to become the household name of Castle. And that sounds like really big headed and stuff, but like I know
Well,
there's
nobody
so many.
really talks about it in the same way that people talk about Star Wars and Marvel.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And you know, we have a, I say the biggest communities on, like you have Star Wars, which is the biggest community on TikTok, especially. Now, for the record, I know people are doing this stuff on YouTube, but I'm trying to like branch that into TikTok
Mhm.
and YouTube some. So, you know, on TikTok, you got the Star Wars community who's huge. Like that is your biggest community. And then I think there's a pretty big community, like the city community. That's like modulars and stuff like that of
Yeah.
people who
Yeah.
build cities. That's really big and prominent. I'd say Bionicle is even a big community on there. You see a lot of Bionicle fans on
I
there.
know he said you could swear, but like, no,
I will stick up
no.
for the Bionicle people. I used to be a huge fan of Bionicle.
I only see it because I know Cool Guy Dom is
Yeah, cool guy
he
Dom, Bricks and Bionicle, I'm pretty sure he's called. There's like Danny Ford Johnson. Like there's so many people out there who like they love all this other stuff, but they like also have this like secret passion for Bionicle and keep trying to show that off. And I just think it's funny. But also like there is a pretty decent sized community on TikTok of those people. But
no,
I'd say like,
there is.
and then I'd say like Marvel, Lego Marvel. That's another big one. I'd say that's even bigger than Bionicle one. And those are kind of like your communities on Lego TikTok right now. And there's a small Castle community where there's some people who talk about Castle a little bit, but I really started a while back driving that Castle moving forward. And I found all these smaller accounts who've started popping up around that. And a lot of them like text me like, hey, thank you, gave me a lot of inspiration. Like they want to talk about Castle now, or they want to like look into Castle more. And there have been, you know, like Maticus and Obi-Wan Kenobi, something, Obi-Wan Bricks. I can't remember his.
Bricks. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they both have Castle sets and they both love Castle. And so they're kind of like they're like a small part of it, but their big thing that they really show off is Star Wars, and they both were Castle fans back in the day on some of the classics. I do agree with Ethan's comment there. Golden Knight. No wait. Golden Knight. Oh, there. The show off your collection community. Like, there's literally like a whole community out there that just show off your collection. And like that's the community that's just like, it's cool, I guess, but like it's kind of gotten old to me. Like, I've been on Lego TikTok for like almost 2 years now, and I'm just like,
yeah. No, I agree in that, because I for that first year, everybody was like, have you got the UCS Falcon? Like that's all that anybody, have you got a UCS Falcon and do you have Phase 2 Rex? And then if you had those two, either or both, you automatically got like 100,000 followers, just because everybody's like, oh my God, he's got Phase 2 Rex. Oh my God, he's got the UCS Falcon. Whereas now everybody's catching up, right? So like,
I mean, it's crazy if you think about it. Slego blew up, who's like great guy Slego. I'm not trying to bash him here. He blew up because he just had a big collection. So people like wanted to like get close to him because he had a big collection. And I'm just like, come on, like, that's cool. Like, good for, like, dude, that guy has a crazy collection. Good for him. Like, he knows how to like buy his Lego and knows what's like popular and how to get like really good deals. But it's just like, you can't just grow big from showing off your collection. I think it's died down a little bit, but there's also reviewers, and like, that is not what I am. So all the time I get people who ask me, can you do a review on this set? Can you do this? I'll tell you the two things I'm about: comedy, which is just fucking around and talking about what I want. Yeah, G-rated content there. I'm not going to be G-rated.
You enjoyed swearing there.
Exactly. Really fucking yeah. So like, comedy, and I love taking like serious stuff that other people do and just fucking around with it. Like, I'm just like, I don't care. Then the second is Castle. I take Lego Castle very seriously. I saw a comment that says TF is Castle, what the fuck is Castle? I'm pretty sure. Like,
yeah,
Lego Castle is longer than Star Wars. It's been out since 1979, and even before that a tiny bit too. So like, legitimately, it's a huge part of the community that people don't know about. And if you want to know more about it, I was about to bring this up here soon. Lego Tavern Talk is my new series that I'm diving deep into the whole castle line. I'm starting from the first ever castle set and moving all the way until 2022. I'm doing it like year at a time, like factions, theme at a time. Like, I'm going full out into this. It's going to take me probably a good year to dive into this, but like,
it's interesting though, because I grew up with Castle, and I grew up with Pirates. And that was probably because, well, it was wholly because there were no franchise sets when I was a kid. So we grew up with like traditional Lego stuff. I didn't really like City. City was just a bit like me, but I always loved the Castle and stuff like that. But then it'll have been massively pushed out because of the franchise stuff, like the boom of Star Wars, then Harry Potter, and more recently Marvel and all that. They've kind of really took the limelight in the Lego, but then the Castle stuff has kind of picked back up, and there are people like yourself who are bringing it back to the forefront. But yeah, I think it's I see it and it's very nostalgic. And I've even seen like a couple of old sets, like stuff from the 80s and 90s from when I was a kid, crop up, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So it is good in that respect. From there, before we delve into Castle though, because there is a feature I want to talk about which will help with that. What I'm keen to, when you're seeing like your time away from TikTok, and then you're trying to figure out your place in it now, like how do you come back? What do you want to be doing? But although you've stepped away from TikTok as a creator, I know for sure you've been there very much as a part of the community still. Now, for someone like me and others who we have continued to create, sometimes you just don't see the kind of the changing tides around you, and you're constantly focused on kind of what's happening today. But you've got this really kind of prominent vantage point from the last 6-9 months, whereby my camera's done that weird thing again.
Yeah. I noticed. So, I was going to ignore it.
Okay, I'll sort that in a sec. But yeah, my you've got this really cool vantage point whereby you've got an understanding of what the community was and how TikTok worked and all that. Then you've seen it become this new thing and you're looking to get back into it. But what are your observations of TikTok over the kind of your time at the Lego store?
I think I'm probably gonna get a lot of trouble for what I'm about to say, some of this stuff, but
That's
like,
why I asked.
okay, yeah. So first off, like, I started when Matt Mellish, Epic Bricks was the first. We all know Epic Bricks was the first. He is the godfather of Lego TikTok. Let's be honest. And like, I will always give him respect for that. Ethan may be the biggest Lego TikToker now, but we all know that like Epic Bricks started this. And I think we all, just all love it. I mean, he's just such an awesome guy anyways. And then we had a lot of community. And at first there was like, you could count easily the number of people who did Lego TikTok after I started Slego, Chewy Bricks, I Don't Want Touch, Matt Mellish, like, even Ethan was a small part of that community, but he wasn't as big at the time. Like, he did just kind of stuck to himself a little bit more, which I think me and Zane and Matt really dragged him out of that, not kicking and screaming. I think he was very happy to stop being a loner. But like, I saw a lot of good, but it was very, you could do whatever you did was new. Like whatever joke you made was new. Whatever, whatever you kind of did was a new thing in the community. Because, if you wanted to talk about pirates, go for it. No one else was talking about it. If you want to talk about Castle, no one else was really doing that. You want to show off your collection, not many other people were showing off their collections. You wanted to be like Epic Bricks and show off what you were selling, which there was a huge group of people who just came out and was like, this I saw in Bricklink, and they saw how like Epic Bricks was like making bank off of just selling stuff from Bricklink and doing videos about it. So everything was new, in that community. And then I want to say there just floods of people start joining, like floods and floods. You had everyone from adults to 12-year-old kids who were just putting out Lego content. And just so much drama got started. And I was just like, everything.
The drama is so good though.
It was the drama. I do agree. But at the same time, I was put in the middle of that too many times. And there were certain people I just wanted to like smack, like Will Smith, and be like, dude, shut up, please. Because all you're doing is creating problems. And thankfully, a lot of those people have left, but they also like moved to other platforms. And I still see them once in a while. And I'm just like, you're just being the same old person. Like, you're not doing anything different here. So I think there was a lot of that, but there was also like people started realizing they have to be different to stand out. And I think that was kind of a big thing, but I want to say like my biggest problem with the Lego TikTok community right now is I feel like everyone does the same thing. And I feel like that's with TikTok in general. I think older TikTok used to be really good. I felt like I enjoyed more on my For You page more. Yeah, that one I don't want to touch. Exactly that one. He knows who I'm talking about. But like Lego TikTok has kind of become, just TikTok in general, people doing a lot of the same thing. Everyone uses the same sound. And, let's be honest, the same joke has been made about, oh gosh, people don't accept me for liking Lego. No, everyone, like, that's not a thing anymore. Like, yeah, it's a small thing, but compared to what it used to be, because of Lego Masters, because of, content creators, because Lego started stepping up its game too, people don't hate on you as much for liking Lego. And I think that is something that we need to stop using in the TikTok community to like booster our views. I'm sorry. I know people are going to hate on me for saying that.
Do you know what I tell you? So I've noticed this too. And one of the biggest pieces of evidence for that now is about so back when kind of we all got started, quite often we would use a comment to do that. So you would see a comment, do a reply video to a comment, and use exactly that kind of narrative. And we knew the community would have you back and all of that, and it would do well. Whereas now, nobody's commenting that. So people are like manually typing in the text as if like making up a comment that somebody said. but nobody said that to them. They just, as you say, it's like
Well,
somebody might have said that 2 years ago, but yeah, nobody cares.
yeah. And you got tons of videos out of girlfriends being like, I bought my boyfriend this Lego set because he was having a hard day and like winning points. Like I see that all the time now. And I go to like my job and like, they make fun of me a little bit because I do build Lego at work once in a while on my break because I make little desk stuff. But they also think it's super cool. So they don't have a problem. Like, and they see it as good creative output. So like, I don't see that as a problem anymore. I don't see people hating on you for building. There's a small part, but everyone's, no matter what you do, someone's going to hate on you for it. People are going to hate on me for how much I get at Love Castle. But you know what? I don't care because I enjoy it. And
could
so
it's
like,
it could be Bionicle.
Exactly. But like, there's joking around like that, like about the Lego fans inside the community. But then there's like legit people going like, no, you shouldn't spend so much on Lego. It's a like, no one does that. No one does that anymore. Really. It's very little.
My wife still does, but that comes from a whole other different place. So
but yeah, that's because you're spending her money. Like,
well, I'm married, so what's hers is mine. So
exactly, and that includes your Lego to her. So,
well, if she wants to come and build it, she's welcome to, but she won't. So I build.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right there. By the way.
Yeah, I was like, there's so much to it like that. I feel like there's that statement. Guys, us adults, by how many adults are on the platform, no one cares that we build with Lego anymore either. Mm-hmm. Adults are a normal thing to build with. Look at the sets. People go to the Lego store when I was working there. More of the time it was adults looking at that Lego store and they would start being like, I could buy that for my kid or I could buy that for myself. Like I saw that happen all the time. I saw the adults who would bring their kids in and they'd be buying something for themselves, but also buy something. Oh, sorry, I'm going to hit my mic a few times here, but they'd also be buying something for their kid to help with that. And that's like, I've seen a lot of stuff like that where I've learned kind of about the Lego community from working in a Lego store, which is one of the cool experiences from that. But like, people need to get that out of their mind, in my opinion. Like I'm going to say that it's like, we need to find a different thing to joke about for a bit. Also, so many people, all you talk about is Star Wars. Like legitimately, there's other stuff out there besides Star Wars. I think it's fine being a Star Wars fan, but I also think how much the toxicity we've seen from the Star Wars. Like there's a lot of everyone saw on TikTok. There's a lot of toxicity on Star Wars. And I think TikTok and social media as itself kind of made fandoms a little more toxic because you can just like go up to someone and be like, your opinion is stupid, like you like Star Wars, like that's how it goes now. But so we saw that a lot in the Star Wars community. So I think, I don't know, Star Wars, there's something there that I just like, I've started moving away from it a little bit myself actually, and I don't really shoot much Star Wars content anymore. Because I think Star Wars sets are cool, but I'd rather focus my energies on other stuff right now because I know everyone's doing that. I saw there's a lot of stuff like that I see in the community that's just repetitive stuff that we talk about all the time and make jokes about. It's like the same things. Showing off your collections no longer, as I talked about earlier, it's no longer a big thing. It's no longer a big audience draw. You have to have now there is a guy I've seen, he has specialized mocks for his setups. And I think that's really cool. And once in a while being like, hey guys, I want to show you off this awesome thing I did, or awesome way I displayed something. She Bricks talks about a lot about how to display your sets in a different manner. That's cool. That's fine with me. Go on about that. She's not going through every few seconds, and being like every other video and be like, hey guys, here's a collection update. Yeah. I don't mind people. Yeah, exactly. Lego Star Wars, blah, blah, blah is typing. You see that a lot. And I think there's also, so I'm gathering my thoughts here for a second because I went on that spiel, but you also, I don't mind people doing videos about showing off what new sets they got because everyone gets new sets and they're really excited about that. So they want to show them off. That's not a bad thing to do. It just depends. Yeah, there's just certain people where I'm feeling I feel like you're just trying to show that you have a lot of money. And so you're bringing it if you don't do it humbly and be I think it can turn into a little bit of a problem I've seen. But
I think there's another side of that as well, though, whereby it puts a lot of pressure on people to feel like they need to get stuff early because they don't want to feel like they're missing out. So, you know, a prime example, you guys, and I mean this generally in America, but you guys are like even more competitive because at least for us, nobody releases the sets early in the UK. Whereas you've got Matt Mellish running around the whole state of Pennsylvania trying to find a Coles or a Target that has like a set out early. Whereas, you know, so, and that seems to be that competitive thing as people, you know, people are trying to be the first to get things. And, you know, you've got, once somebody has it, then everybody they feel the need for speed. Sorry, but everybody then feels like they have to go and get it. And I was a victim of that to an extent, and that's where I made that decision last year, where I was like, well, actually, no, because I only buy from Lego because I maximized the VIP points. But I only now buy in double points events, and you never get a new other than May the 4th. You don't get a new release with double VIP points. So I'm quite happy, just kind of like, I know what I want. I don't know exactly when I'm going to get it, but I probably know now the next double VIP points event is May the 4th weekend. So I'll get it then.
Yeah, and that's usually like, honestly, the best thing to do is either wait for double points or wait for promotionals. I always like, if you go into the store and they don't have promotionals, walk out. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that is when you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck out of the sets. Like, I definitely know for me, there's only 2 sets. You're allowed to talk about leaks on here, right? I'm just double checking.
Yeah, I wouldn't even give a shit. So,
there's 2 sets coming out this year that I will be there early for. And that is the 3-in-1 Viking ship, which we have seen some leaked photos of. That's coming out June 1st.
Even I've seen that. So yes, that is definitely out there.
Yes, that is like the big one. June 1st, I will be at my store early. They all know this. They're all going to be like, oh, there's Brad. All right. And then the second one is August 1st for the 90th anniversary castle. Only 2 sets because I was the first one to get the blacksmith in my area, or
90th anniversary. 90th anniversary of what? Of what?
So they had that 90th anniversary last year vote, and whichever theme won, they're going to do a 90th anniversary set of. Technically, Bionicle won, but they're not doing a set for it. They're actually doing a 90th anniversary castle set, which I'm happy. I think it should have been castle or classic space. Those are the 2 that should win.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling they're going to, like, there's supposed to be a 90th anniversary minifigure line that kind of goes with this too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some classic spacemen and classic, like, I don't know. Somehow they'll do something with that. And I feel like we might get, just because they saw how popular it was, like 1 Bionicle set for Creator Expert, which I'm fine with. Yeah, good Bionicle fans, what they want. You know, I'm a castle fan. I understand wanting more. But like, so it's going to be a $350 set coming out August 1st from the rumors. And these are pretty solid people who are dropping this rumor. It wasn't like those fake Star Wars rumors that we were seeing. And it's supposed to be like this pretty big deal. And I'm like, if that's coming out, number 1 person to get it in my area. I'm saving all my VIP points, dropping $350 that first day. Cause that's the last time there was a castle set that expensive was a really long time ago. So
yeah, it's well, you can't get castle that often, surely. You've got, I know the most recent one was the 3-in-1 castle, but previous to that, what was is the blacksmith part of castle? Yes. Or is okay?
Blacksmith is, I mean, it's an idea set, but it's like Barracuda Bay is a pirate set. That's a hands down.
Yeah.
3-in-1, like, yeah, it's a different style for the blacksmith, but it's a castle set. That's when it comes down to, it's exactly what it is, a castle set. So, I would say that's definitely kind of, before that, you know, we've gotten in the minifigure lines, like recently with the Snow Guardian. We got the Viking a little bit ago. We got the Centaur. We got the Bard. We got the Yellow Knight that kind of goes really great with some of the newer ones. So yeah, there has been some castle stuff, but the last big castle theme was 2013.
That's a long time for what I would see as a mainstream Lego theme, but yeah, And it's good to see they're bringing their own stuff back, and they're really pushing hard on their own stuff right now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Good question, Mike. So, because you would get quite good discount, wouldn't you? But then there were specific rules about it. But
So yeah, we weren't allowed to sell. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to say this or not. All right. You got a 50% discount if you worked there for 3 months. When you first started working there, it's 30% discount. So, like, pretty good starting there. First 3 months, 30%. After that, 50%. So, absolutely amazing. And I will say, if that is your reason to work at a Lego store, don't, because you're going to be stressed out and there for the wrong reasons and hate Lego after a little bit. And you're going to be the employee that no one wants to work with. Just a little disclaimer. But then also, like, I think it was bumped up this year to 3,000, but you're allowed to spend $3,000 with your discount. So technically, if sets weren't discount, that's $6,000 worth of Lego
per transaction or per year? Or?
per year.
Okay.
So once you hit 3,000, you're maxed out. You can't spend any, like, you can buy stuff, but it can't be with your discount. Okay. But also, you had to wait a month after a new set came out to use on your discount. So I got in the habit of, hey, I would get, once I finally got that 50%, I waited a little bit and be like, all right, I'm getting last month's wave now. So like the first of every month, I was getting last month's wave of stuff that I wanted. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so there's that. And then also, which, like, you could buy those sets still, but you couldn't use discount. And it was also like up to your boss whether or not you could use your discount. So like if you're really low on a set, or you're trying to buy a bunch of them, they might be like, no, we can't let you get that right now, but we can give you a discount code for online to get it from there. So how it works though, and this works with VIP points too. If you're spending about $100 on Lego, and for me, that's 50%. Once that 50% hits, it's going to get $50 worth of VIP points, not $100. So yes, it does affect your VIP points, but you're also getting a crazy good deal on it. Like I got the AT-AT for 400 instead of 800. Like,
and then 400 quid's worth of VIP points.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're still getting, and like if you do it on double points, you're getting that normal amount, but you're still getting the set much cheaper. So that goes though, like if you get a 30% discount, like a set's on sale in store, you don't get original price for that. You get what it is after discount worth of points.
Yeah. Just nothing ever really goes on sale through Lego.
I don't know. Some sets do, but it's like, I know like videos on sale at the store I used to work at. And there's like Monkey Kid at a time was, but there are, so also I've seen this a bunch, and there's a few people who were like going off about how Lego would give them discount on bigger sets. That's false. For the record, there are sets that have a blacklist that no matter what, they can't get a discount on. There are more recently some sets where it's like, hey, you'll get double points. Like if the box is damaged, you'll get like double points on this. Like Queer Eye was triple points at one point just because they were trying to get rid of it. It was triple points, which is the most points on any set. And that just, I don't know, that was just funny to me. So there's that. There's like if a set's damaged, like
did the Queer Eye set boom when the controversy came out about the jacket?
No. I'm not gonna go to your store and ask them if they have 40 Queer Eye sets in the back, and they'll probably say yes. I mean, it just depends on the area, but it's like the show was not popular at, like, the show is popular for a certain audience, and people don't really know it
here. Like I know it, but and I thought it was an interesting pick, and I thought it must be led by America, because Queer Eye here was never, like, when you think of like the other things like Big Bang Theory, Friends, they are like objectively successful show. Yeah. They are up there, and that one was just a strange one. But
well, do you know what? Too, that wasn't an idea set. Seinfeld, Big Bang Theory, and Friends were all idea sets. Now I'm pretty sure the Friends Apartments, that was an idea set. I might be wrong on that. I think that was just a creator expert set, but they also knew the Friends set did so well, and there was an audience for that. Whereas Queer Eye, we actually got press. So certain sets, when there's like a little bit of controversy, we got press releases about them to like what to say to customers. That was just because they wanted to target a certain audience. They wanted to like, same thing with the Everybody's Awesome set. No, there's nothing wrong with those sets, but it's also when you try to put a message behind something like the Queer Eye set, people aren't, I'm sorry, but people aren't going to care as much, in my opinion, because they want to show that they care about. There are people who, yes, they do care about the message, so they will target that set. But like Friends, like, if you try to do a message behind that, people would still buy that set because they're still big Friends fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Queer Eye, there's not a huge friend base around. I'm not trying to like target anyone here. I'm just saying like, it's there is an audience that Queer Eye is meant for. And I'm sorry, it's just not a very big audience.
Well, no, I agree. I think it wasn't, and that was my initial reaction when it came out, is that it's it's just not on the scale as a program as those others are. So, what was the driving force behind it? We'll never really know. But yeah, it's an interesting one. But I would imagine it'll get pulled from shelves soon. It'll retire a little bit earlier and all of that, and they'll push it out to other retailers.
Literally, since its release, we didn't get a shipment of them ever. We have had the same Queer Eye set sitting in the back. Like it was crazy. Yeah. Like that was really crazy to me to keep seeing. That's like, we all try to start making bets to see how many we could sell in a week. Like, yeah.
But you just aren't pushing that on anyone, are you? You're like, there'll have been that initial wave of people who were like, do you have the Queer Eye set? I used to love that show, or I love that show. Yeah, there you go. But you couldn't push that on somebody who didn't watch it. But that's true again of Friends, Big Bang, Seinfeld.
Exactly. I mean, it's the same thing with Star Wars. Same thing with Star Wars. It's the same thing with Marvel. You can't really push those sets. And I think that's the thing. When something is based off something, it's a lot harder to push that set because people don't care. Like if they don't care about Marvel, they're not going to go for that set. Some people once in a while will be like, hey, that set has good pieces, but there's so many sets in Marvel and Star Wars. Queer Eye's one set. And the pieces on it, we're going to start seeing here in the future real soon. Like that white masonry brick is going to start popping up here all the time. I'm calling that now. But where it's like Marvel and Star Wars, they have all these sets where there is something that could appeal to someone. Like I'm not a big Ninjago fan, but there are a few sets once in a while I'm like, that kind of looks cool. I might actually try to pick that up. Like there's audiences. So, and that's why I think original Lego themes were so good. Stuff like Power Miners, stuff like Castles, stuff like Pirates. There's certain sets that did so well because like the themes did so well because they weren't based off anything. They were left up to the kids' imagination. So.
Yeah. No, I agree to an extent. Interestingly, just and it's a question that we're always quite often asked, but is there a TV show that you would like to see a Lego set made out of? We all know Cy O'Connor's because he did well with the X-Files.
That was crazy. That was crazy. I think for me, have you ever seen the show Arcane on Netflix? It's based off of the game League of Legends, which is super popular, but it's kind of like steampunk. I did pitch this in a Thunderdome episode, but like it's basically, I'm trying to think here. Yeah, it's basically steampunk in a way. But there's so many cool characters and so many like cool things that they could do with that I think would be awesome to get us like a show for like a set from that show. And I know they are doing a second season from it. And since they've already teamed up with other Netflix shows, I know it's a little more not PG rated, but
well, this is where it's all over the place at the minute, because if you follow, and I know you do, like Jamie, the brick educator, he's doing like the rules of Lego ideas at the moment.
But that's different. Lego ideas is different from Lego's things.
I know, but
yeah,
it's Lego, right? So like it should all kind of count. It should all be the same thing, especially when a lot of Lego ideas now are based on TV shows, movies, and all of that. And a lot of the successful franchises are TV shows and movies. So
yeah. And I mean, like if you think about Stranger Things isn't PG, that show's not PG, and it got a set for it. And there's other stuff like that. I'm trying to think of what else got sets recently that were, there's a lot of PG-13 stuff, but I mean that makes sense. You can't just go with all PG movies. But yeah, I know it's really, because I've seen some of those. I'm just like, from what I've seen, Lego can do whatever they want. But when it comes to Lego ideas, there's a little more strict on it. Which also, for the record, it's very funny when I had a kid come in the store and be like, "Can you tell me about the Lego ideas process?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, like you can't do anything from like like Star Wars and stuff like that." He's like, "Oh, never mind." Like, because they all had like the same idea for basically a Star Wars set that needs to be done. I'm just like,
yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to
yeah.
happen. From a Lego perspective, and so this is the question of the day, and this is the question that I asked on my Instagram, and we've got some answers there. Chat also let us know your thoughts on this, but I'll open it up to you first and foremost, Brad. When a new set is released, now it is a wide ranging question because it can differ from kind of from set to set. But what is it about a new Lego set or a new Lego release that you are usually drawn to? What is it you get excited by? And I mean by that, do you particularly look at the minifigures, or do you look at the build, or do you look at it's like I always love when like watching Studbuds and Ethan will be like, see that one piece there. Like I want that one piece of like that 1,500 piece set. A new color. Some people like, like for me, I always like how a scene is depicted, like that they've took that scene from my film. Some people like the box art, some people like the books, but like, what is it for you? What is there anything particular that you look at and think, I want to see this from that, or that's the first thing I'm drawn to?
So there's like kind of three different categories for me. So the first big one is for Star Wars. Is this a scene I really liked, or is this a ship that I really liked, or is this a minifigure that like I'm in love with? Like this is one of those, like when we got the Mandalorian Starfighter, Bo-Katan, Gar Saxon, and I just love Mandalorians, and Gar Saxon's one of my favorites, and Bo-Katan is just epic in a lot of her content. So I'm like, and also I love the Mandalorian Starfighter. I wanted the original one, so I was like, I gotta get this. Like, this is a good rank of characters. So for that, like, it was all about the shipping characters, and I think that's one of the things that like biggest that is my big draw to sets usually. The second, like I've recently had a work perspective, like when I'm getting sets for my job, like for the background. Is it colorful? Because I like Star Wars is great, but it's not very colorful on a desk.
No.
So like I recently got some Ninjago sets because I just liked how colorful they were. Posable. Can I have an ADHD moment here and just kind of play with them while I'm like listening to a work meeting? Like in my hands, can I move them around? Like kind of pose them if I'm getting a little bit bored? Like, because it's kind of fun to pose something in your desk of the mech stomping on a character. So there's stuff like that I look for when I'm looking for sets for work. And then what's up, Sai? I miss you from yesterday. And then I think the big thing for it to me for is just like, is this something I want to display? Is this something I'm going to actually keep around? Is this just going to be like something I want to take apart and just kind of throw into a bin in a few months here? Because I used to buy like, oh, this is a cool $10 set that's on sale. I'm just going to get that. And then it's like, why did I get this? This is just taking up shelf space. So
yeah,
you get it. So it's like there's a lot of times where I'm like, hey, what are the minifigures are a big thing of those smaller sets. So there's sometimes, but if the build is something like I really want to display this is something I really want to have in my collection, then I'll definitely get it. But sometimes I've been recently more thinking about like some sets I should just take apart. There's no point in me having this around here. Like I like this minifigure or something, but I think I can definitely take this apart and use it for other stuff and be fine with that. Like,
yeah, it's interesting looking at this, like how many people have like said, yeah, minifigures, particularly new minifigure molds.
yeah.
A lot of people look at that, but then yeah, the builds, um, like people enjoy a decent build. So it's interesting. What do you do with your boxes?
I've been recently starting to throw out more ones. Like if I got a city set, I throw those out. But
Okay,
like
okay.
my big stuff, like the modulars, some of my Harry Potter stuff, like any of my 20th anniversary boxes from Star Wars and Harry Potter. I keep those. I usually like put them inside each other, stack them up. I try to put them as a display in my room somewhere. So like I got like a bunch of like the blacksmith is one of my and Barracuda Bay are some of my favorite boxes. So I kind of have those in a little more prominent areas just because they look so cool. But like if I get multiple of the same box too and it's not that cool, I just throw it out usually. I'm trying to like get better about that because I know there's a point where it's like I don't need this. Like this is just taking up space. But I do think it's like it's hard because I keep being like, well, I can buy this and sell like the modulars. I bought a bunch of modulars when working there, and I built a lot of them too. I'm like, hey, I can if I don't like these, I can just sell these in the future. But do I also want to keep these boxes around, or do I just want to throw them out at some point? Like, I think because I am hopefully moving here soon. So when that happens, stuff might change. I might just be like, all right, we're just gonna go and throw out a ton of these. But yeah, I think it just depends. It really depends. But also, you're asking a quick question about like, buying up sets. There are certain stuff I don't care what it like. Pirates, Castle, anything around that, I automatically buy it. Like it's on my wish list to get. I don't care how bad it is. I'm going to support that set so that they make more of them. And also, usually they're pretty cool anyway. So there's certain like stuff where it's like I originally was doing that with Mandalorian, where if anything from the Mandalorian show, I was buying, but I'm not doing that as much anymore. And I'm kind of like a little more picky and choosy. But for like those classic Lego themes like that. Like if they ever do a classic space set, I'll most definitely be picking that up because I do want to support classic space. So,
yeah, and that's a good point because you see a lot of narrative going the other way about, especially Star Wars and, Star Wars sets being lackluster or, oh, this is a bad set and they've badly portrayed it. And sometimes it's just noise. And I think you see more of that on like Instagram and YouTube than you do on TikTok. But, people like it's almost like it's cool to see like, or the default position is to say that it's shit. And then we go from there rather than kind of like, something has to blow you away to be good. But
I think it's really funny when we get these super pixelated photos of a new set coming out. Like, I don't know, is that person taking a photo on their old flip phone? Like, and everyone just like diagnosing them, guys. I'm like, guys, that's not a leak. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's like that gives me a general idea of what's happening here, but that's not a leak. And I'm gonna reserve judgment on that until we actually get some like hard evidence. Like we got with the new tank coming out. When I saw the first photos, I'm like, that's cool. I might pick that up. I like building up I like getting different variations of clones. The Mace Windu, I don't have a Mace Windu, so that'd be kind of cool. But like at the same time, everyone's hating on it. And I'm like, you gotta give it a second. And like, there's certain people kind of went after with, how they're hating on it. But it's like TikTok was just as bad. People on TikTok and Instagram are just as bad. There's so many people. The haters always have the loudest voices. And I will say, though, to all those people recently who's saying like Star Wars is so expensive. You know what themes aren't expensive? So many other ones. Go look at those ones for once and stop looking at the Star Wars aisle.
I think so. On that though, it's an interesting point because they're expensive compared to what? So okay, so they're compared to Pirates, Castle, whatever. Of course they are. They have a license fee to pay to Disney.
Exactly.
But then I think also people compare it to old stuff and like inflation is a thing. Like the rate of pence or cent per brick is different now because inflation. So yeah, and don't get me wrong, that's not me kind of totally sticking up for Lego because I think they've got it wrong several times, but both ways. Like you look at a set and you think, how is this one like 70 and this one's 30? Like this should be about 50 and probably that one should be like you can get them like way off. And if the pricing can be a bit all over the place, but they obviously have their reasons. But to my point, likewise, as you're saying there, you support a set by voting for it. You vote for it by buying it and showing Lego that we want more of this. Star Wars suffers from the other side, that people buy blindly and they're like, I hate that set, but I'm going to go and buy it. So Lego was sat there thinking, well, okay, people love this set. So people love this. Let's keep doing this. So yeah, I'm kind of all for that. It's like, look, if you don't like a set, that's cool. Just don't buy it.
Yep.
But then I think it comes back to my point earlier is people feel pressured that not only do they have to get a set, but they have to get it like day one, week one.
Yes.
They have to be the first person to get it. They have to be the first person to build it.
Honestly, you can sit on a set for a bit and be like, I don't know if I want to get that or not. Just as long as you make up your mind before it retires, you're good. Like legitimately just wait on something. Like they're having a few sets. I'm like, I'm gonna wait and to see what other people buy. Or like I got super like good energy at first where I was like, I'm gonna get this set immediately. And then I waited a little bit. I was like, I'm actually not going to. Like, I'm just gonna wait until a different set comes out. I'm going to save my money on this. And it's also like, I make a start later.com. I use that wish list feature. I have sets that I have wish list out. And I'm like, hey, these are sets I'm going to go pick up. And when I have I'm trying to decide what set to get, I pick up one of these. Sometimes I go off that wish list and I grab something else that I'm like, hey, this kind of piqued my interest. But I stick to that wish list pretty regularly and I take sets off it after a while. And sometimes I put different sets on because I change my minds about them.
I do wonder, and this is another thought that I had about how disconnected kind of Lego are from what social media is nowadays. Because I use my wish list and it pains me when you see how much it will cost you to buy your wish list in full. More because I know that I'll spend that money at some point and get all of those sets, but because of how quickly new sets come in, that number never goes down because you're kind of buying stuff and then you're putting other stuff back on. But they had the ability to do what Amazon have done, whereby people can buy off your wish list, like for Lego. Like they haven't done that yet. Can you like that?
Oh my gosh, it'd be so amazing. Can there be a Bricklink one too? Like I would totally set up a Bricklink wish list and be like, hey guys, if you want to support me, like and help out with the medieval town, like this is what I care about. I'm not gonna do that with Amazon.
Well, I mean, not the same, but when Bricks for Pennies, Reese was around last summer, a couple of people were like paying him because the way Bricklink sellers work is they get your logins, they get your address. So like Reese had my address because I bought off him a couple of times. Then he got a couple of Ewoks in and people were buying the Ewoks and telling them to post them to me. So I was just getting Ewoks through my door all the time.
That was
which
the
was quite funny.
thing.
Yeah,
that was the funniest thing. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to do that.
It was because I was like, I haven't ordered anything. And Reese always put like he had his own stickers and he put his sticker on the envelope. So you would know that it was from him before you even opened it. I was like, I haven't ordered anything. And then like, oh, I know what this is. And then then there'll be like a little note in there, like, it's from this person. Motherfucker. Yeah. Free minifigures, I suppose, but yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can make a pretty buck off those one day. Like,
well, absolutely.
Opie spat on Ewoks. Like, we can make a brand out of this, Opie. Like, trademark that right now. Like,
absolutely. Why not? Why not? People are doing worse. To flip that on its head, is there anything? I suppose this would be more with examples, but is there anything that really turns you off a Lego set when something's released and new? I know if you were Matt, so I'm going to be Matt for a second and be like, stickers. Like,
stickers don't, honestly. Like, I a lot of times bring those up around Matt just because I'm trying to like put it in Matt's face and be like, dude, look, there's stickers on this set or there's not, and you're defending the set like crazy. I'm not like, and you don't defend this. Price is sometimes when it comes down to, I'll look at a set and be like I looked at the new display sets for Star Wars. And a couple of those are just like, I don't really want to pay this price for something that I don't feel is worth it inside of me. So it's like, is it worth it to me? So that kind of like turns me off of sets too. My bank account, that sometimes does it too. Me trying to be like, I need to save money and I'm not great at that. And this is something I can get rid of my list. Just, I I don't know. It's just the display wise too. Like there's certain stuff where I'm trying to think of any sets right now where I was like, I don't this just isn't a good display set. You can't really display this well. Um like I don't know. I almost wouldn't have gotten that Forge set if I'd seen what it actually looked like. Even though I love the Mandalorian Forge, there's so much cool stuff that comes with it. It's also not the best display set ever. I
Yeah,
think
I
they
don't
could have
like the little kind of bridge, like because they did
yeah.
similar with Trouble on Tatooine, like where they built out.
Yep, like
Like,
those sets. Like
yeah.
but I really wanted the minifigures at the
Mm.
time. So I was like, I'm gonna get it. And I mean it's cool, but I think honestly they could have done a little bit of a better job with that. So there's certain stuff like that, like how displayable is it? Is it practical? Certain minifigures where I'm just like, this isn't worth it. Like the ships may be cool, but the ship and the minifigures put together just don't make this something. It all adds up. Is this worth me getting? Is this worth me putting
Mhm.
my money and time into building it and the space to store it? So yeah. Also just yeah, just like ugly builds.
Yeah, but that's a subjective one, isn't it? It's like what comes down to an ugly build. So,
Very, very true.
well,
Very true.
but the display sets are a good point because it's a funny one. Like I really like the display sets as a concept.
Yes.
I'm not loving the quotes, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
waiting for like the live, laugh, love set. Like, do you know? It's just like, why are they putting quotes on the little plate now? Like, I don't.
I do agree with that.
But I do like the base, and I love the meditation chamber, which is like way up there.
Yeah.
I like the concept. However, the one thing, and the trash compactor is probably a great example of this, is it kind of reiterates the same thing that people have been harping on about for years. Is like they just keep making the same sets. They find a new ways to make the same sets over and over again. And the trash compactor probably is the only one that stands in there, but like yeah, you look forward and you think, okay, if this series or this range is a success, we are going to get probably more of the sets that we've had again in the past. They're probably going to be linked to the original trilogy, and we're going to get them again, but just in display on these little kind of pedestal scenes.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, that one display set with like the fighters and the trench run, we got a very
Yeah,
similar trench run to that as a May 4th promotion. I'm
yeah,
staring at it right now. And to me, that was like very like it's cool greebling and all, but I'm like, I'm not gonna spend like $80 on that when I can look at it right here and it's pretty decent. I feel like
hmm
that's good enough for me. I'd prefer the A-wing over the X-wing anyway, so like I'm good. But like Dagobah. Technically we've gotten two other Dagobahs in the past.
yeah,
But that it looks so good. I'm getting it as a display set for my work because it's
hmm
not just gray. It's not like there's so much like this cool color to it. And then on top of it, like it really shows off some great scenes. Like everything meshes well together. I feel like out of all those, like I look at the other two and I'm like, the second one, okay, a trash compactor, that's kind of cool. But like if you're looking at any other angle than in the front there, like
yeah.
this, kind of doesn't look great to me.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Um, Especially since it's kind of walled in. You get some cool minifigures there, not worth it. I got a Han Solo, I got a C3PO, I got an R2D2. Like, I don't need extra printing on it for me to be a good minifigure. And then it's like you get Dagobah, which yeah, it comes with less figure. I mean, the trench run, it's just like it's gray. That's literally like
Mhm.
there's just a ton of gray greebling in it, and again, not worth it to me because I don't get any minifigures or stuff that I really care
Mhm.
about with it. Whereas like Dagobah, it's like cool minifigures. I mean, like, yeah, it's not super unique minifigures, but they're cool.
Mhm.
And you just get this really cool landscape with that. So like to me, it's like, we're going back to is it worth it? That is worth it to me.
Where is Zane in a
I know.
Lego
I was just
bag
thinking that. That
animated?
was like in the
Yeah,
back of my head, like
yeah.
trash bag Zane, not trash, but like Lego bag Zane walking around, just like, can we make that into a GIF? Someone for all Lego streams, like, is it worth it? And it's just like him being like,
Yeah, just walks across.
yeah,
Just
exactly.
yeah, there's a bit of that. Yeah, it is an interesting one, and I have the more recent Dagobah set, which is very similar to Obi-Wan's hut, and I think do I, because I'm not in the business of having multiple versions
Yeah.
of the same set. Like I'm just like, I'll pick my favorite and I'll get it and go from there. But I do wonder, do I sell my Yoda's Hut and put it towards kind of funding the next one and maybe have a bit of a cycle around? I'll be selling my 2020 8080 at some point when I buy the new one. I don't need a Falcon, so like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I think that's the one thing is like for me, particularly, I can look and think, okay, well, it's time to move stuff on. And there's some stuff I've even acquired over the last couple of years where I think, yeah, maybe it's time to move that on. Like I've had it in my collection. Great to say that I had it, but I'll move it on.
Yeah, and I can kind of agree with that. Getting double, like only sets that like you need double of ours battle packs. Like, and I'm not even for like all these people getting double the Dark Troopers. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but like, why? Like, um,
but it's only good if you're going to scene build. Now, scene building is great, but it takes up a lot of space.
yes,
So, so if you, a lot of people I have all of my like Death Watch army with my original
make
previous
me
level.
jealous. Make me
But
jealous.
but they just stand there. I've got like
Yeah.
30 Death Watch troopers there who just stand there, and I could absolutely put that space to better use. So yeah, it's like, do I just start kind of thinning out my herd of minifigures?
And I think that's not like I'm someone's like I can never sell like there's everyone differently when they have stuff. Like I can't take the Mos Eisley Cantina and sell a couple of minifigures. Like that
Mhm.
would just hurt me inside. So like I have gotten rid like I recently got rid of a Spider-Man set because I was like, I don't really need this. I'm not a huge Marvel fan. I only need one Marvel set in my life, and that's the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, which I bought my last day of working at the Lego store. Like it's the best Marvel set they've ever done, in my opinion. These, I mean, yeah, Daily Bugle's good, but like that one's cooler. So it's like I don't need that. So like I
Fight
get
and talk.
all right. I don't mind fighting. It's like I got rid of that. Like I have a ton of stormtroopers, but all of them from different sets. I have different
Mhm.
generations of them. And I don't mind having my little stormtrooper army there because I do hope like some once in a while I like doing mocks with them. Or I did used to get a lot of like clones and stormtroopers because I would play with them as a kid and fight with them and have big armies. And I'm all about like military tactics is one of my favorite things, even though I'd never want to be in the military. Like I love looking at history and Star Wars tactics basically. And I play a lot of like tactic games. So to me, having armies like that, I get to set them up in cool ways. Like it's the reason I love medieval because I just set up these big medieval battles. I don't do anything with them, but they just look super cool. So like I'm all about that, but also I understand, yeah, army building, you don't really like it just stands there. Like, is it really do anything? But it is cool.
Sai, I
Starting?
what minifigure army are you going for? A particular one, or are you just going for like a random ensemble, or what? Because I didn't have you down as a minifigure army builder,
He has a ton
but
of minifigures. Like he has like his big thing is minifigures. He has a crazy amount of them.
I wouldn't have had him down to having multiple of the same minifigure though. Is
True.
my thing. Like I know he has a lot of minifigures. He picks up like, so I always see him picking up like the mechs, and like he's always just picking up like the small releases, which are always great for minifigures. By the way, great stream yesterday.
Oh gosh,
Not that
yeah.
Stud Buds is never, but yeah, that was just a whole other energy and pace from that. How did that come around? How did you end up getting Sai
So
involved?
we have been wanting to do something like this since our 20th anniversary, not sorry, our 1 year anniversary stream. Where we were so every week we have a Stud Buzz has a meeting now where we sit down, and we've been doing this for a little bit now where we realize, all right, we got to sit down, we got to talk about the show, who's doing what. 'Cause sometimes we get into the show and be like, you're doing this, right? Oh, you don't have that planned. Like, and it's, our thing is segmented, which is different about our show than many other Lego shows. So we sat down in our meeting and we are like talking out, like, what can we do for this 1 year anniversary? And then we're just like, how funny would it be to have someone else host it and just roast us the whole time? And then we're like going through like who could do this, and like your name came up, and then there was like a few other people of getting like Cool Guy Dom, or like there's just like there was a ton of names thrown out there, and they're all like, you know who's really just like
Had to be
the
Sai.
funniest guy,
Yeah.
just the greatest energy, and will just like doesn't give two shits what he does. I was like, we're all like, oh, we got to get Sai. We got to like,
Yeah.
and so we all, one second. I don't know what that's about. So I just got random text and I don't recognize the name of it. So we were all like, all right, we got to get Sai. And so we talked to him about it on our 1-year anniversary stream when we had a bunch of people on. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, this sounds like a great idea. And so then we were sitting on it. We're like, when do we do this? Because we can't, it was like, we did that the day before like 1-year anniversary stream. And we're like, I can't remember if this 1-year anniversary stream or I think it might have been like our Christmas stream or something like that, where we were just like, it'd be really funny to have someone else host the Stud Buds. And we're like, this would be a great April Fool's show. This would be amazing just to like, it's the jokes on us, the jokes on the Stud Buds, because we have no clue walking into this. And we gotta say, for that first hour and a half, Sai killed it, and then Zane left, and we're all just like talking about life and stuff. I'm not saying he didn't kill it after that, but it was just like I felt like there's a huge atmosphere change if you stayed for that full 3-hour stream that happened yesterday.
Oh, was it? So I haven't watched the rest back yet, but I left a little bit after Zane left, because I had to go eat. But
Yeah. So
yeah, it was
Zane had
just.
Oh, okay, Matt. Okay. I don't want to know if that's true or not. I can't remember. We got to record these meetings so we can look back on it. But I said, wait, what was it? No. So Zane left because he had something to do with his wife.
Yeah.
And then the whole like we kind of like kept joking around for a while, and then legitimately we just like we got into this big discussion about like phobias and like all like it was basically like this conversation, but we just started basically like talking about life on stream. The whole atmosphere, it went on for like the whole show was 3 hours long. So I don't know what happened there that this whole thing happened, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. And Sai just killed it with those introductions too, and comparing us to different Star Wars characters.
Yeah, it's he went off with them. They were very random, but I would expect nothing less. Sai, that was fun. But I do think what's interesting with that, because I will definitely watch that, like kind of where I dropped off. I'll pick that up tomorrow, which I usually watch it on a Monday because I don't get to watch it live. So for me, it was great to have that first and foremost. But yeah, I think the great thing is it's like the art of the conversation and just watching people converse, and that's why podcasts and streams are so great. But you can't be too forced. Like, it has to have that rhythm and flow to it, whereby it's a natural conversation. I think there is real value and an art to just a conversation. So definitely look forward to that. And I feel like when you're part of it, you can really feel that connection where things just the conversation flows. With that, Sai, let me tell me this, by the way. I don't know if he has mentioned this to you guys yet, but obviously Ireland is now getting a Lego store. I believe Dublin is there.
Yep.
How far in the works is that, though? Is it 100% confirmed? And if so, do you have
well, didn't he get a VIP card? Because
he did.
They sent him, so he called them. I don't want to like tell the full story for him, but what I heard was he called them up and was like, hey, by the way, like I need a VIP card. We're getting a Lego store coming. And they're like,
I didn't know Sai was John Jonah Jameson.
Yeah,
hey, buddy.
And here they were like, oh, where do you live? And he's like, in Ireland. And they're like, oh, 1 second. I'm like, yeah, we'll be sending you a VIP card soon. And then he's like, what? Like, okay, let's do this. Like,
a great way to find out. Unbelievable.
No, I think he found out from something else. Like, there's people let him know, but like, I think it was all because of Zane's campaign for justice.
Of course, justice for Ireland. Jesus Christ!
Did you see? We did a Stud Buds episode recently with memes, and Matt pulled up all of the like videos under that hashtag, and there was like these few funny videos about like justice for Ireland, like, you know, Lego people trying to get the Lego store going, and then there's all these like serious videos under the hashtag.
Oh yeah. And like, I will not comment on those videos, and I will not talk about that subject.
No.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all good. I'm not trying to
yeah,
like bring up
no,
anything.
no. I just mean as an Englishman.
Yeah.
It's not my place to comment. But yeah, size. So okay, so it's coming in the summer. That's great, and the reason that's great is because I'm off to Dublin on the 23rd of September. So you know,
Nice.
it'd be great. I mean, I could be hitting Lego stores up across the world this year. Vegas is Vegas is happening, so I'm off to Vegas in June.
You should come to what is it, Brick Fair, Virginia, the big one happening this year in August.
It's tough to do. It's tough. Like, it's I could probably get over. I could probably get permission, but yeah, I'd love to do it. And I saw you guys mention it. So are you guys getting a table there? Because I know you're getting some merch or something. Or what are your plans?
I don't know what's going on with that. Me and Matt talked about it yesterday. We're definitely gonna be going. We hopped in a conversation with Ethan a little bit back, and he said that he's gonna try his damn hardest to go. So I know that, and we don't know about Zane. But our goal definitely is like an Airbnb for at least the four of us, shoot like a stud buds. If everyone does go and we can't make it, my goal, like, cause Matt's on my way to it, so I'm gonna like be picking him up and then driving him there. And that way we can like hang out and shoot content on the way.
Does Matt know and approve of this? Or are you
yes,
like, Matt,
no. We've talked about this. Okay. I mean, like, we're gonna be doing a convention together actually 18 days. Yeah, in about 18 days, we're actually going to like a convention that's like 2 hour ways from both of us. Because like we're actually 4 hours away from each other. So it's like 2 hours in the middle, and it's a great meeting spot. So we're gonna we rented an Airbnb like not that far away. We're gonna go. We're really excited about it. Like, we're gonna be shooting content the whole time and having a blast.
Awesome. Now that's cool, because like, and by the way, Matt, no, just fly me out first class rather than fly everybody out.
No, we need to get you and Cy though. Those are like the two big ones. I can't think of any other.
Well, this is true. And usually when we fly to America, we stop off in Dublin. So I'll pick Cy up on the way.
Yeah. Get Cy, get London Bridge, get those three at least.
Absolutely.
Like,
yes.
Actually,
yes,
I honestly, I think it'd be really cool to come over to the UK, and like, especially with my I love for history and love for medieval things. I know there's like a decent amount of that like still in there. So I'd like love to come out and see that, and then also like hit up a few content creators.
You have no idea, Brad. Like, I live like 10 minutes away from Hogwarts. Like, no shit. Like, so like the courtyard scene where it's like in Hogwarts and it's got all the that is Durham Cathedral. You've then got Durham Castle, then you've got Alnwick Castle, which is about an hour up the road from me. Next to Alnwick Castle, you've got New Asgard, so where they filmed that scene. So like, all of that's there. But yeah, there's just castles everywhere, and they're filmed. So a lot of if you've seen the Viking series with Ragnar Lothbrok, like a lot of that is filmed where I am from.
Wasn't that connection to the shoot? What's it called? There was another Viking series on Netflix I watched recently.
There is one now. Yeah, it's the new series that's on now.
Okay, because I've been wanting to go. I don't know if you ever heard of the books, the Saxon Chronicles.
No,
it's a really, if you like listening to audiobooks, I highly recommend it. But basically, it's the Vikings coming to what was England and the different Saxon groups, and the first people trying to make England actually happen and gather all those different, English speakers together. And it's the Vikings basically raiding that area. It's a huge long book series, but it's really well good. If you like a little bit of violence, a little bit of other stuff in there thrown into, really good. Highly recommend checking out on Audible.
So I can't believe you've never seen the Viking series, though.
I think there's two of them. There's two of them because
there is, and there is one right now on Netflix, which is is basically set in the same universe, but it's like 100 years later. But the original one, which is just called Vikings, is like the original story of Ragnar Lothbrok, and Ragnar is like the first Viking to have crossed the North Sea, come over to England, and they're like, even now, like 1,000 years, 1,500 years later, like there is still stuff told, and it's very much intertwined with kind of our history and culture and all of that. So
Okay.
a lot of these castles basically stood to fight off Viking invaders. So
Yeah.
Vikings. It was a History Channel production, but then it got bounced around left, right, and center.
Is
So
that Vikings Valhalla?
no, that's the new one. So that's the. I'm sure that's the new one.
Okay.
The
Sorry, I'm looking
original
this
one
up right
was
now
just.
here.
The original one was just Vikings. I'm sure.
Okay. I
I'm
will
sure
have to look into
Valhalla
that then.
was. Let me see if I can find. So, that's the how it ends. But
Yeah, I don't
that's
see
like
just
your main guy there. Is like that's Ragnar
okay.
Lothbrok. So you really want that, but it's
I
great
think that's the
culture
Vikings
into.
Valhalla one.
So Vikings Valhalla is like it's only just come out. So
Oh,
that is the
okay.
more recent one, which Netflix did. Um, I'm trying to think where
Have you,
Vikings the normal one is, although it
there's the
will
Last
differ.
Kingdom one too.
Yeah,
The
that's totally disconnected. I'll
okay.
find it and I'll send you the link for
That
it.
one's the one based off of the Saxon Chronicles. I have watched like a
Okay.
good amount of that. I think there's like a season and a half I haven't watched yet. I don't know. Sometimes like there's shows where I'm like, this is good, but also there's something turning me off from this right now. And I don't know why. Like I just want to feel happy a little bit so I can then go watch sitcoms for a bit and then go back and watch those like more like aggressive, like darker shows.
Yeah, I mean, Vikings is dark. It doesn't hold back whatsoever.
No,
And
no.
you will be introduced to a thing called a blood eagle, which is spectacularly gruesome. But also an absolute spectacle to behold. But yeah, it's the Vikings raided the northeast coast of England, which
Yes.
is where I am. So yeah, and it's like around me there are like infinite amounts of castles that are all set up basically as defending at some time or other. So yeah, you would absolutely love it here.
Well, do you know that's actually one of the reasons, sorry, transitioning this a little bit, why Lego Castle hasn't come back as much, I've heard, because of that politics of like Europeans and how much like bloodshed was kind of like spread during that. Like that's a gruesome time period for knights and stuff. But I've heard like there were European people kind of against like that whole knight sets coming back. That's what I heard. At least that I thought that, but I'm like, that can't be true. Like I get like pirates, I get like, because pirates, their reputation is not like peaceful, but like at the same time we had the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, so it's like everything can be disconnected. Like people think of knights and stuff and they don't think of all the crazy bad stuff that happens. They think of stuff more like The Knight's Tale, if you've ever seen that movie, which is a
Yes,
great film
yeah.
with Heath. I'm really looking forward to using a few clips of those from in Tavern Talk at some point. So but like that's like a great movie. I feel like when people think of knights and castle and stuff like that, they think of that more or less, like, they think of armies of knights fighting each other, but they don't think of the gruesome stuff that happened really. It's only like the hardcore fans.
Well, yeah, exactly that. I wonder if they were French, because the French always were quite often defeated. The French, they were, yeah,
I mean,
they didn't
true.
do well. They,
White flag.
well, to be fair, I mean, up until a certain point, they did all right, the French, but then we beat them into submission, and they've never kind of recovered since. So maybe they just look at it all of that, but
I
yeah,
mean,
lots of castles.
Middle Ages is crazy though, because it's not just like Europe, because so there's two themes that were not based off the European Middle Ages, and that's Vikings and ninja, which ninja is based off feudal Japan. So there's so much they could do that. I mean, technically Prince of Persia was kind of based off that, like, African, like kind of more of that type area. But there's
Persia.
so much. Yeah, Persia. Thank you. That's what I was thinking of.
It's in the name, Brad.
Yeah, I don't know why I forgot this, but like legitimately, there's so much to history that they could do that's like you can kind of convert this into a way like what they've done with the 3-in-1 Castle and the Blacksmith. Like kind of take that style and print it over something, but still have this kind of like fun theme and stuff like they've done with Castle in the past. Like people love knights and pirates and stuff because there's so much like, there's so much you can do with that. Like we've seen with like the Pirates of the Caribbean, which it's like no one takes that movie seriously. It's not based in history at all, but it's like a fun pirates. Like we like the idea
just
behind
a ride at Disneyland, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my rant there for a hot second.
No, it's I and that's where maybe Lego are a little bit soft in that, we saw the Jabba's Palace thing and they were like, well, it's, stop selling it. It's not because of the controversy, but we are going to stop selling it. And you're like, well, like, okay, whatever. Like, let's.
But then there's other stuff where there's like a big controversy around it, and they're like, no, we're gonna keep pushing this no matter what. Like, and it's like even in Star Wars, I've seen stuff like that where it's like this is kind of I don't know, but it's like okay, like. But I love you.
This is true. We can't not. But yeah, it's who knows? But I don't know. Vikings the show would make a hell of a Lego theme. But there's no way they're doing that.
Oh my gosh. I just think like how awesome one of these, like taking one of these gruesome Viking shows and actually putting that more realistic look to the Vikings. Like there's some great Viking minifigure that they did for a CMF line that had the actual more realistic looking helmet and clothes. Not some of the horns and weird stuff like they did.
Yeah, because there is no kind of historical evidence of anybody ever wearing horns.
No, well, it came from basically the Vikings being called like, like it's any group that was like a raider and one side of history writes about them. They always kind of like describe them as gruesome and like like not really human. And that's kind of think where the horns. Yeah, where that come from?
That was weird.
Yeah, no. But I think that's where the horns came from. Is they're like these kind of like demon like people, and so they're like they have horns sticking out of their helmets. So. I think I've lost Opie. Is this my show now, guys? Do I get Welcome to the Opie-Verse, hosted by Bricking.Up.Brad, guys. We're gonna have some fun here. Drop a like if you're enjoying the stream so far. I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to see if Opie texts me. He is not. So I think in conclusion, that means I'm in charge of the stream. So how's everyone in the chat doing? How you're all enjoying the stream? What's been your favorite part so far? I wish I could, Aiden. I wish I could. You look a lot different. Oh, now it's very much. All right, guys. Well, welcome to the Bricking.Up.Brad stream on the Opie-Verse podcast. I'm going to be taking this over. This is an April Fool's joke. LMAO, huge UK blackout. I have no way of ending the stream besides leaving the studio, so I'm going to keep talking until Opie gets back. But yeah, if you want to see more of me, guys, I'm just going to promote myself right now. If you want to see more of me, go check me out. I'm guessing, I think he threw my beacon down below. Did he? Let's see. Did he? No, he doesn't care about me enough to do that. Actually. So go check me out, Bricking.Up.Brad, on so many different pieces of content. I'm doing Lego Tavern Talk right now, which is pretty cool. I'm talking about, I feel like when I talk about Castle, go check that out on my YouTube channel. Really, really want people. It's actually really cool. So, I have no clue what's going on right now, but let's have fun with this. Why not? What should we talk? What should we talk about? We need, if you also like Opie stuff, go check him out on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram. I bet he would love that. Go do that. Support him. Drop a like on this video. Drop a dislike too if you don't like it. It won't do anything because there's no numbers on the dislike button anymore. But I think, I think you can enjoy that still and still show displeasure. But I don't recommend doing that. I recommend dropping a like. And here's the reasons why. I'm gonna do a PowerPoint presentation on why you should drop a like. Opie says, just keep going. All right. So I guess we'll just keep going here until he gets back and can end the stream. This is the funniest thing. I know what, let's promote Stud Buds. Guys, go buy Stud Buds merch because it's the coolest. I have no idea what's happening. Keep going whilst I fix it. All right. What's new? What's new that just dropped on Lego.com? I'm waiting for questions to come in from the chat. I will reveal all of Opie's deepest, darkest secrets on his own stream. Just ask away. I got up since Opie left. I mean, people want to check me out. That's what's going on here. Let's see. Oh, the new Lightyear sets just got dropped. Not Josh, just dropped. They got announced. So that's super cool. And honestly, we didn't get to talk about these on Stud Buds yesterday. So I'm really excited for those new Lightyear sets. I think they have a lot of potential. And actually, a really cool fact is the guy who made the Lightyear is a classic space fan. And if you find the tweet by him, it's actually really funny. Let's see. Can I find this tweet? I know someone sent it to me. I don't actually know who exactly sent it to me. It's my good friend Fozoom. I'm gonna go find him quickly and drop that link to that tweet. But he was basically like, when you want new classic space parts, you just make a movie. I have no idea. Has it kicked you out? No, it hasn't. The stream's still going, Opie. Stream is still going. I'm running it now.
Hey, bro.
Oh, never mind. I don't get to talk about that.
I have no idea what happened there. So everything kind of froze, and then it jerked around a little bit, and then it just died. I thought it killed the stream. So then I was weirdly, I messaged you, and then you hadn't replied. So I was like, is he still online? And then I looked on the stream, and you're just there still talking. So keep going.
I took over the stream there for a second. Your views went up, by the way. So just
yes.
Put a little bit of that paycheck towards me next time.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, weird. Anyway, who knows? It was just what was weird is it was saying there was no internet connection, but it was connected to the internet. Weird. Never mind. What were we even talking about? Hey, Brixton.
I don't remember. I was just talking about the new Lightyear sets that just got dropped.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which are actually really cool thing. I dropped the link to the tweet in there, the chat. But the guy who made Lightyear is a classic space fan. And Fazoom told me this. And on the tweet, he said, when you want new parts for classic space builds, just make a movie. And so Lego will do sets about it and get you new looking parts. So it was funny because that's from the director of the movie. And I just thought that was the funniest thing that he's a big classic space fan and directed Lightyear.
Well, yeah, that's it. If it's the epitome of, if you want something and it's not happening, just go and do it yourself.
That is why I'm directing the next medieval TV show going out here on Netflix.
So, because we haven't talked about your content, and
yes,
you've particularly your YouTube. We talked earlier about your TikTok stuff, but from a YouTube perspective, you've kicked off your medieval series.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that. What is it? What are your plans with it? Where did it come from? And how are you finding it? Because that's always a big contention of going from short form to long form and making it all YouTube friendly.
Yeah, so YouTube was something I've been kind of doing for a while. I've actually been doing YouTube since 2013. A lot of people don't know. I had an original channel that I did gaming stuff on, which I'll never utter the name of that again because I'm so embarrassed by it. I have privated all the videos, unlisted them for a reason. And maybe if I grow big enough, I'll share that again. But I was a young kid. it wasn't great, but it did teach me YouTube. And I had friends who like knew YouTube, so they would like help me out and were actually kind of part of, because I kind of made it. It started off just me doing Clash of Clans videos and went into like a big kind of gaming group where like there was a bunch of us in it. And it wasn't anything close to what I do to now. And then I've done like gaming channels since then. I technically had an original Lego animation channel that I did a while back, really long time ago. So I've been in the YouTube world for a while, and I grew up wanting to be the next like household YouTube name, like, you know, Jacksepticeye and Captain Sparkles and like all these like Markiplier, like, because I watched those people growing up. I watched a lot of, you know, like, you know, I always knew who PewDiePie was and those kinds of people. So like I was born in that generation of like YouTube was the thing you wanted to be on with like YouTube Rewind. Like you made it once you got on YouTube Rewind. You know, that perspective has changed a lot since then, but I started realizing like, you know, once I started doing TikTok, once I started doing that, I wanted to get back into YouTube because YouTube, I really like the platform. I've always done that kind of style of editing videos and stuff like that, but I didn't know what to post. And I'm like, well, I could do reviews, but I didn't really want to sit. I'm a little bit lazy, and I don't want to sit down and take the time to shoot those kinds of reviews. And how I view a set, it's a little bit different than other people. So, you know, I did some where I just did speed builds of sets I was building. And after a while, like, I think it was right before I quit, like went to the Lego store. I was like, I don't want to do these anymore. Like, I want to just build a set when I want to build a set. I don't want to like set up a camera and do it. Animations have always been something I really want to get into. So I did some like animations of stuff getting built with little fun things. Cause there's a guy, and I'm trying to remember his name right now. But he's an older YouTuber. I don't think that's him. But I was quickly looking at my subscribe. But there was a guy who really did a really cool job back in the day where he had this whole castle set up. And what he would do is do an animation of the set getting built. And then there'd be like a fun animation with some like there was one where it's like a bunch of knights were attacking this village after he made up this thing. So it's like, it was really cool like that. So I want to start trying to do something like that. And so I did do a little bit of that, but after a while, it's just like, again, I don't feel like these are coming out the best as how I want them. But once I got work at the Lego store, I realized my big love is Castle, my big love. And I really started diving more deep into that. I started looking it up for stuff like stud buds. I want, like, if you guys don't know, Fazoom is a great content creator who knows classic space like the back of his hand. Like, this guy lives and breathes classic space. And I was like, I want to be that, but for Castle. I want to be the guy that people like, they think Castle, they think me. They want to like get Castle facts, they come to me. So I was like, all right, what we're going to do here is we're going to start finding a way to share that love for Castle in a good format, but also maybe teach people. And so I was looking into it a bit. And the idea of Tavern Talk had come up because I was originally going to do a YouTube show with, I can't remember. I think it was Sam something, but he was a Lego TikToker who was into pirates. And so we're going to do like Tavern Talk and talk about different themes and stuff like that, and kind of rate themes and just like really deep dive into these themes. And that kind of never panned out because I went and started working at the Lego store and all this other stuff. But I liked the name. I was like, this is like a good name and I can do something with it. So I decided, all right, Lego Tavern Talk. But how am I going to do this? Is this going to be a stream I do? Is this going to be... And so 3 weeks ago, I got Adobe Premiere at my new job. And they're like, you got to use this to edit together some content. And I'm like, I've never used Adobe Premiere before. Like, I don't know a thing about this. I know how to edit. I went to college. I did editing in college. I can edit, but I can't do to Premiere. And I got really frustrated at myself on the first day when it took me like most of my day to figure out how to edit together a little small thing and export it. And it didn't even come out well. And I was like, all right, this is going to change. So I decided every weekend, at least 2 to 3 hours, I'm going to edit together a project on Adobe Premiere. And this would also help my YouTube channel. So then Tavern Talk was born. And I came up with the idea of like a while back of being like, hey, let's do a walkthrough. Because there's this guy who does Lego Rewind videos where he goes through different themes. I like it, but I wasn't always a huge fan of how he did it and how he talked about. I don't feel like he always went super in depth into stuff and how he talked about them. and also I never like it when people bring like politics into certain stuff, and like they kind of like political. It's not really just politics, but there's other stuff they bring into it. I'm like, I'm not a big fan of that. That's just not something I really want when I'm watching my content. So I'm like, you know what? If I want it done right and I want to do it, why not just do it myself? Like it's that attitude.
Absolutely.
So I was like, all right, I got an idea of what I want to shoot. I want to learn how to use a software, and I got really good software now. Let's do that. So then Lego Tavern Talk was born, and my goal with that, and I started with the first Yellow Castle that came out in 1978. And it's like, we're going to do a walkthrough from that to 20 whatever in the future. As long as castle stuff's keep coming out, I'm going to keep doing videos on it. But also, that's not just my only goal. Tavern Talk, so there's going to be the history side of going through the different themes. But there's also going to be stuff where I'm like, hey, what are my top 5 favorite castles they've ever done? Hey, here's all the kings they've ever made. These are all the different castle figures they made in CMF lines. Hey, this was a fun offshoot set that they did. There's Castle and Duplo. Like, kind of grab all these different things and just talk about Castle. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm just talking about Castle. So like I do hope to get to 500 subscribers at some point so I can get the community tab opened up so I can start then talking with people through the community tab about Castle, asking questions, figure out what they want to see too. So I don't know if I'm going to like do an offset series that's going to be like Lego Tavern Talk's going to be this, and then there's going to be like other Castle stuff. I don't know how that's going to go about right now, but right now my only goal is just like every Monday get out a video. So like after this, I got to go edit my next video for tomorrow, which is going to be the introduction of factions into Lego Castle. So yeah, it's kind of, and I also work on revamping. So I'm getting a new logo coming out, which is going to be my coat of arms, because
Nice.
I like my logo, but also I'm like, my goal is to be known in the Castle community, which is like, there's a huge niche out there. And I've been starting to like dig into that community a little bit on Instagram and finding those peoples. But like, there's other people out there. They're really crazy good stuff on Castle, and they make stuff. I don't want to be like the king of Castle. I don't want to like, but I'd like to be, a kind of known name among Castle fans and people like, hey, when we want our history facts of Castle, we want, videos like, here's a playlist right here. You can go through the whole Castle line. So yeah, like I'm not trying to have like a big head here. I feel like I'm like acting like I'm a big head, and like, no, that's not my goal here at all. Like, so yeah, I'm going to start doing that. I've done 2 so far. They're pretty short, and they're going to be like 10 minutes to like a minute. They're not going to be that long.
Yeah. No, I've watched them. I actually enjoyed them. Yeah.
Perfect. Exactly. I've been getting that a lot from people like, hey, I've watched this, and it was actually like really fun. And like, I wasn't expecting to learn what I did from these. And that's my goal, is like, hey, you don't have to be a Castle fan to enjoy these. You just have to be a Lego fan. So, because I do hope to like sprinkle in some like Lego knowledge, like, hey, by the way, this is also when this kind of happened, and like just like place it in what was kind of happening around it. So yeah, that's kind of Castle. I'm hoping to get like a new banner, update my channel, make it look better too, and just kind of be more appealing so that people come and take it a little more seriously. Because I've been looking at recently, I'm like, I don't really feel like that looks good. I feel like this looks like some 14-year-old together slap together a channel with a bunch of different random content on it. Like, so I'm trying to figure that out, trying to learn thumbnails, which are insane. I am not an editor. I am not someone who's ever been good at like doing photo stuff. And so I basically in 3D paint just kind of like made together some like decent looking thumbnails.
Yeah, I still don't know what makes a good thumbnail, but yeah, like people will tell you it needs to be. They tell you obvious stuff like, oh, it needs to be eye catching. Well, no shit, but what's eye catching?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and then like obviously the title needs to be somewhat controversial and all of that, and like grab you in. It's a tough world. It's like that's what put me off doing. Like just it made me take a little bit of a back seat on YouTube stuff, because the content is only so much. You need to find a way of making people watch the content, and a thumbnail and the title, like as much thought needs to go into the thumbnail and the title as that. And you're like, come on, like, but yeah, I totally get it. But yeah, it's just, I use Fontool and then just clip everything together.
Oh, there you go.
but yeah, it's all right font tool. I know people use Canva, but I feel Canva can be quite busy. But yeah, font tool it's quite inoffensive, and you can just pull things together. Then I use like Photo Room to do the remove background and the like. I don't pay for anything. I just everything is a free app. So yeah,
Well,
they're all
I
worth
have
it.
the whole Adobe suite right now because of work. So I'm like kind of like, how can I use
Definitely make the
Photoshop?
most of that.
Huh? Yeah, like I
Definitely,
don't
yeah.
know if you can use those, that's the way to go. Like, but I'm like, I
Mhm.
don't know enough about these. So I'm like thinking about like sitting down someday and just like Adobe Premiere and learn. Because I actually did do a little bit of Photoshop in college, but I'm like, I don't remember a lot of that. Like,
Yeah.
so I
But you
wanna
don't though, do you? You don't retain things until you start actively using it on,
exactly.
especially on things that you actively want to be using it on. Now that's great because what that means is you can do you can make stuff for you in work time and call it learning and development. I'm doing it on this because ultimately this doesn't matter to you, so it doesn't matter if I get it wrong. So I like this is my kind of sandbox play yard, but actually you're developing yourself for you, and then when you kind of nail it, then you bring the quality stuff back for them. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like I like my boss was like, "What'd you do this weekend?" It's like I spent 5 hours on Adobe Premiere, and he's like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, wanted to make my own content, and I was just trying to learn it. Like, I wasn't happy with how my work performance was." Like,
It's
he's like,
such a black
"Oh,
hole as well.
wow!" Like, yeah,
Yeah, I've only really used iMovie for long form content, and it's such a black hole because you just scrutinize like every millisecond. But
and that's the thing. Compared to other people, I don't believe stuff has to be perfect. I don't mind showing a little bit of human error. Like there's certain times where
Mhm,
I pause in videos and I'm like, I am trying to get better about like how the content sounds and looks. But like every time I do it, I try to learn something a little bit new. But I'm like, because I know basic editing. So like
mhm,
basic editing travels between any different editing software you use. My thing is just like, how can I make this look a bit better this time? How can I
mhm,
learn to use this little feature in this? So I mean, my thing is like once I get my logo going, that's gonna be slapped on to a lot of different stuff just because I'm like definitely gonna get some merch with it. Cause Matt, I'm actually commissioned Matt to do it, and it's gonna be like a shield, kind of like the Black Falcon one, but it's gonna be like BB. Like I'm really excited for that because I like it's like a coat of arms, and I'm like the medieval guy. So I don't know. Makes me really
that'll be
happy
cool.
inside.
Yeah, it's I mean it's the it feels like the perfect pairing. So definitely.
Exactly.
Are you
Exactly.
going to have a Lego element to it? So is it going to be clear from the coat of arms that it's like Lego bricks in there or anything?
I'm waiting to get the rough draft from Matt, which is gonna probably take a bit. But I don't like mind that because I don't mind waiting for it because I know he's such a good artist that I'm like,
Yes.
because he told me he has some really good ideas, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. You know, this is what I kind of was looking like, and I've sent him some messages, but I'm like, whatever it comes out to. My big thing too is like the next thing I got to find is like, what do I do for a background of like my actual YouTube channel? Like I have some ideas for that too because I don't know why. Like kind of my brand is wood, like just like wood things like because I used to be the 2x4 guy like
Oh,
on
that kind of wood.
TikTok like
Okay. Okay.
yeah yeah not the other kind but it's like also like
Yeah.
tavern talk so there's like a lot of like wood elements like I've kind of stuck with that. It's like if you look at the background for a lot of my thumbnails and stuff is like that wooden background which I just googled images of wood and that came up so uh it's yeah I don't exactly like I think that's gonna be like interrogated into the shield a little bit too so like I gotta find
Nice.
different ways to do that so yeah but um yeah
Well, I'm sure Matt will do a good job. And I, of course, look forward to seeing it. I'm sure
me
you'll
too
share it far and wide on that.
oh
Yes.
gosh that's gonna be on every platform everything you guys are gonna see that pop out like
Don't doubt it, Brad. Don't doubt it. I would expect nothing less from you for
yes
sure.
exactly
Um, so guys, we just hit 2 hour
yeah
mark,
oh
so
my
we'll
gosh
start like wrapping up now. Honestly, it flies, man, absolutely flies, especially when it kicks me out for like 5 minutes. But never mind. But yeah, so I stupidly haven't done this. I sometimes forget to do it, but I'll do it afterwards. So for anybody watching live, it won't be there. But for anybody watching back, Brad's details will be below, as with everything else. I just forgot to fill in the description. But yeah, Brad, like where can people find you? Where should people find you? And why should people be checking you out across your platform base?
All right. So first off, YouTube right now, that's like kind of where I'm trying to be right now. I'm really trying to promote Tavern Talk stuff. That's kind of like my big goal right now is I put a lot of work into that series. And I think people enjoy it because it's like educational. I think you'll get something out of it if you do watch it. So that's kind of my big thing. YouTube, go there, Bricking.Up.Brad. You can find me on, and there's no period. I don't know why I always do it. I used to do it that I don't know. Different platforms have the dots in there. But Instagram, I'm going to be trying to do a lot more in that and like kind of exchange with people and talk with people through like stories and images. You can also see what updates I do to my mock through Instagram and TikTok. So I also recommend checking out TikTok too. I haven't worked my mock in a while, but if you guys don't know, I also do a big medieval town mock, which I'm like right now kind of tearing apart in a way. So like, cause everything has a plate kind of like this. And I'm trying to like re-go through each of them and kind of like build them better, not tear apart all the buildings, but like make the scenery around it look better. So like that's a big thing I'm working on right now. But like you'll see updates and stuff like that on Instagram. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. And then on TikTok, because I just like to make a lot of stupid jokes there. And if you want to have a good laugh about Lego stuff and not see the same old thing from that everyone else is doing, I highly recommend checking me out there. And I also try to post some castle stuff there too. So if you aren't if you are a fan of castle stuff, check me out. Even if you aren't, I think if you want something a little bit different, and you don't, I'm not going to force you to get castle stuff. I might, but I won't. I think you'll still enjoy it and enjoy the stuff I'm putting out right now. If you want a little bit different, fresh, breath of fresh air is what I'm trying to say.
Well, check them out and be the judge of it yourself. But no, I
Yeah.
would agree. Have you, because I see a lot of like mock builders, particularly on Instagram, who then talk about their stuff on YouTube. But a lot of people will do that where, because I've seen your medieval mock, it's fantastic. And they'll just kind of work away on it, plug the camera in, go live on YouTube. I feel like YouTube's better to do that because you can use multiple cameras and you can get a wide span and all of that, which is great for when you're building a big mock. Are you thinking of doing any of that, or is kind of TikTok still your live build platform?
I'm trying to figure out where I want to do lives. Yeah, I might switch to YouTube more, and I might do some of that. I hate doing mock updates on YouTube because like TikTok's great because this is what I do. I pull out my phone and be like, all right, this is something cool I want to show off. Let me get a few cool camera angles, talk over it. Woo, let's see, we got a video out. Awesome. People can like really see what I'm doing there. YouTube, you gotta go through, you gotta shoot every little bit of it, then you gotta record a voiceover to all that. And by the end of it, I'm just like, I'm lazy. I don't really want to be doing this. Like having talk is pushing my laziness, but at the same time, I enjoy it so much. It doesn't like time just passes when doing that. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's why I haven't done as much on YouTube. I think TikTok might be, I'm going to set up a schedule to like live stream at least once a week. I'm still trying to get in the groove of things. So I'm trying to figure all that out. But I got like a lot of cool stuff. Like I got the employee Ninjago gift that I got from working at the Lego store. And I'm going to be doing a whole video on that because it's a rare item. I want to show that off to people and show what you might be able to get if you work at a Lego store and stay there for a while. So
But what we need on the whole live thing is we need what Matt has in the stream from your computer when he built the light cruiser. So he basically used OBS, but to stream through.
Matt's special.
Matt gets
he got
everything.
that.
I know.
I'm gonna beat it. No, I'm gonna like take that off his phone somehow when we like hang out together. Just be like, Matt, I kind of need your phone first.
Do you know I know of one person other that has it and just has it because they seem to have it. And I'm like, oh, that's like, I want that. And they don't use it. And I'm like, I'll swap
That's
you
the
if
thing.
I could.
If
I
you
hate TikTok for that.
I do, I really do. It pisses me off. I'm just like, you don't give everyone all the features. And it feels like it's like a year before. And then it's like, once it finally does happen, it's like, well, everyone already said he has this feature, already had this feature. And there's already someone who like got a new feature that's even better than this anyway. So it's like, All right.
But it is, I wholly agree. And from somebody who has been kind of considering and exploring that platform of choice, probably for the last 6 months to 9 months, and playing around with different things, like that would lock me in on TikTok. To be,
Yeah.
to have the dual camera and all of that would be awesome.
I do agree. I think YouTube right now I like a little bit better for some reason, and I'm kind of pushing more towards YouTube. I mean, even with stud buds too. Like, if that's the other thing you guys can check me out at, check me out Stud Buds. It's the YouTube show with Matt and Zane and Ethan, which really fun, and I think people really enjoy. But like, I enjoy doing the YouTube stuff there more, and I'd rather go use that and stuff like that for my YouTube channels than TikTok right now, honestly, because TikTok's just a chaotic mess, and I'd rather people be able to find, like, I don't know. So yeah, I agree with you on that. So
Yeah, I think where the only thing that TikTok really still has is with a live, people have the ability to find you through that live, then not finding you through your YouTube. Like you have to put other work in to get people to come to your YouTube live. But yeah, I totally get that. I like the chilled vibe of YouTube and like the more custom setup and all that. And there's the absolute opposite of everything I've just said, whereby because you don't have the madness of people constantly coming and going, you can just kind of crack on and get your community in and just have a cool live. And I enjoy that side too. So yeah, it's
yeah.
it's a good place to be. But yeah, and guys, if you're not already, definitely check out Stud Buds. It's definitely worth. I usually watch it on a Monday because Monday's a quiet work day for me, and just have it on whilst I'm working away and always enjoy it. So it's always good fun. And
it's not
yesterday's.
It's not just the same thing. It's literally a ton of different smaller shows put into a big one. We talk about everything. We talk about, buying sets for reselling. We talk about mocks. We talk about old Lego themes. We talk about Lego trivia. We talk about what's happening new in the Lego world. It isn't just your normal, like, a bunch of people hanging out and talking stream. Nothing wrong with that, but there's a lot to it. And so if you're looking for like a little bit more to your Lego stream than the normal stream, I highly recommend checking it out.
I do. I would concur. And Aiden, I'll leave on this point, but so they've already started to introduce this. So at the moment, and you might have this, Brad, is when you go live, you've got device camera on mobile gaming. So I have mobile gaming. Nobody uses mobile gaming.
It's stupid, but like, I'm sorry, I don't want to, like, there's no game I want to stream like mobile.
Well, I think you're looking at it too literal, though. So I've toyed with this and it doesn't work very well. But what it'll do is it will just stream your phone screen. So actually what I've streamed is I've streamed myself on YouTube. So my YouTube feed onto TikTok, and it does let you turn the phone portrait as well. So I've toyed with that, but the problem is you can't interact with the TikTok chat. So you almost need to just tell them, like, look, I can't see what you're saying. If you want to be part of this, you need to come over to YouTube and go from there. But it's just not the same.
There's also the feature on TikTok where you can swipe your screen sideways and it'll like pull the chat over, and like it makes it all big, which I didn't realize until this past week when I accidentally did it. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's that's the thing. Like, more often than not, TikTok launched something, and then they'll not tell you it's launched, and you're like, well, what's this? It's an art project. I like it, Picasso. So yeah, they quite often do that, and then nobody really knows what they got. Hey, Isaac. So yeah, it's a weird one. But anyway, nevertheless, Brad, it has been first and foremost long overdue. So it's great to have you on episode 29 of the Opie-Verse podcast. So great to have you on.
Episode. The 30th.
Sorry, say that 30. Well, you could have, yes, but it's just a number. But no, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I will add your details into the description below for anybody watching back. But your Bricking.Up.Brad is the same across all platforms, right?
I think it's just Bricking.Up.Brad. You don't even need the dots in there most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's nobody else anywhere near on that. So yeah, check out Brad, and I'm sure if not here, we will be chatting on TikTok Live again now that you're back. And welcome back once again to you lot. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for staying through that glitch. Brad, great job in rising to the pressure. The stud buds, it just goes to show that the stud buds are riding on your back, if anything else. But no, thank you. And if you haven't already, please just hit that like on your way out. But yes, until next week, when next week I will be joined by who we mentioned earlier on, Lisa Shebricks, and we'll be talking all things Lego decorating and all that, which I am intrigued by, to get tips by how I get my Lego out of this room and around the house with my wife.
Get rid of your wife. I'm pretty sure that's the only way you can do it, Opie. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But it has been a pleasure. Goodbye, everybody. And Brad, you know this bit. You have to wave endlessly until it does that. But thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic evening. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and have a fantastic week. Goodbye.
Bye.